It's not the greatest thing that I want to say, but I have to say it as a fair evaluator. Now that my Dolphins are really looking like they're finding a way into the playoff mix, this doesn't make me all happy and giddy to talk about, but it is the truth. Bills are really finding that place that I've wanted them to go for 2 years of pass balance on offense. And it was really on display last night, and it was critical for this team, the Bills, to overcome the Packers, who played admirably, played much better than I thought they were going to play. It was a very, very fun game for me because I'm an old school guy. I like running the football. I've also said for the last 2 years, I think the league is kind of moving towards this pass balance offense as being the right balance to generate offense through when you have the right personnel. I love the run game. I love offensive line. I love running backs. So it was a lot of fun for me to watch. It makes me feel good that as an evaluator, I kind of called for this, and it's heading in that direction both for the league and the Bills. But again, it is a little bittersweet because my Dolphins are going to have a very hard time stopping this Bills offense. They've had a hard time for a while. I mean, there's been a little blips in here and there being able to stop them. But when you have a pass-balanced attack the way the Bills showed last night with Singletary, with an offensive line that can block, with Allen who can run and pass and do all things, it makes it so difficult. The ability for the offense to keep the initiative, to keep the defense guessing, which is the most critical asset for an offense, is now even notched up higher. Allen always made it difficult. Didn't know what the guy was going to do. He could do it all. But now when you add in that run game, it makes it so much more difficult. And I expect this to continue. Dable last year, I knocked on him for the fumble love. Dorsey, I expected him to go to a more pass-balanced style. Took a little longer than expected, but it looks like this is the firm direction. And from what we saw last night, this is just the unwrapping. There's a lot more to come. I'm going to dig into all that stuff, the game and my evaluations and yada, yada, yada. But first, I want to give a shout out to you guys for stopping by. I appreciate it. You know, Bills fan stopping by for a Dolphins fan shows a lot of class on your part, as well as many other fans of other teams. So I'm grateful for that, for the likes, the subscribes, the views, especially the comments. You guys make this channel go. I want to give a shout out to AcePerHead, my sponsor, because without you and without them, this show ain't going down. AcePerHead's betting software is the premier white label platform for bookies to manage their players and grow their sportsbook operation. Click the link in the description below to get set up in minutes. Ask for the Curtis promo and get a special introductory discount. All right, so it was a much different game than I anticipated. I didn't expect Green Bay, who's okay at running the football. They got talent, and they've got a pretty good offensive line to generate the crazy amount of rush yards, to be a running attack, a rushing attack offense. And I didn't expect the Bills, who are number one in, I believe they were number one in run defense, to give up as many yards as they did. So it was an unexpected night. It was also unexpected to see Singletary get as many carries and Cook to get as many carries in comparison to what Allen did. And as an evaluator, as a fan of Allen, this is the best recipe. I mean, he had 6 carries. He took some hits, but 6 carries for him is nothing. You know, you always run the risk of getting injured, but this was the perfect balance. 25 passes, 27 runs. The runs were highly effective. Now, Green Bay isn't the greatest run-stopping defense. They're actually kind of poor, but it doesn't matter because Tommy from Mafia Sports and I have been talking about how this offensive line, we got Saffold and Quisenberry, they come from a run-centric offense. And for them to get reps and successful reps, them as well as the whole unit, it's going to build confidence. It's going to build even greater success. And I hate to say it, but I think it's going to. Singletary, Motor, as the Bills fans like to call him, was tremendous. Cook really, really, really surprised me. I liked what he was as a scat back, but I saw a little bit more growth than I anticipated, and he looked kind of dangerous. as far as his ability to make reads and be patient. It's hard for young backs to be patient. I saw a lot of patience with him and tied in with Motor and obviously Allen. This running attack is a monstrosity. And it's going to be very difficult for teams, especially when you add in Allen's movement. You can see here, he can run. He can make you pay with the jukes and the moves, which was ultra impressive what he's able to do to cornerbacks for being as big as he is. He's able to run through you, and then he's able to get on the move and then be patient enough to keep his eyes down the field to deliver the football, even in tight confines like in the red zone, which that one play to Knox, it just makes it so tough. And, you know, the thing is, run diversity, both in looks and attack, is critical. It is critical. I've talked about this. I keep saying it over and over. In offense, the number one asset is initiative. You come to the line of scrimmage, you know the snap count, you know where you're attacking, and the defense is guessing. If the defense begins to make the offense play defense and lose that initiative, it is crippling even when you have maximum talent and a maximum talent edge over another team. But when you have the kind of talent that the Bills have and you hold on to that initiative through absolute diversity of attack in both area, look, formation, pass, run, it creates a major, major issue. Now, Rodgers, guy's good. And this offense, as ugly as it's been, is heading in the right direction. Tommy from Mafia Sports Report has always said, you guys weren't building an offense that suited your home field environment. I felt the same thing with Rodgers. And this move towards a rushing attack is going to help them in the long run. Short run is going to be ugly. They need more talent. But this was a quality team, possibly, definitely a Hall of Fame quarterback. And they played very, very feisty. And they were able to limit Allen a little bit and make it a little bit of a issue. And Allen kind of played sloppy in the second half a little bit. And it was the run game early, middle, and late that brought balance. And in the old days, last year from you starting your team, Dable just kept throwing and throwing and throwing and throwing. And this balance settled everything down. And the game was over early, and those picks that came late, it was already over pretty much. Allen wasn't taking care of the football the way you want because you always got to be patient. You always have to be thoughtful because you're creating your mind to run a pattern of, I'm throwing the football and I'm always going to think this way. And once you get out of it, it creates chinks in the armor. So I didn't like that Allen threw those picks. He was a little careless with the football. But for most of the night, he was excellent. And I think that is a learning experience for him. And Allen is the kind of guy that continually learns. And so it was good that he could get that mistake in a win. And hopefully he can learn to be more careful all the time, even with the big lead. Because the NFL, you never know. It can go either way at any moment as long as it's not 40-0. So, but the balance brought so much to the team. It rested this defense. It sped the game along. And it allowed Allen not to have to be the end-all be-all, although it was an excellent game aside from those two picks. Now, Rodgers, 19-30, 203, 2-1. Guy needs more talent around him. But offensive line's pretty good. Allen, 13-25. Not an Allen night for 218, 2-2. Green Bay, 208 yards on the ground. I didn't expect that at all. Bills, 153. That balance, though, of being able to run that football really, really helped out. And again, as I said, the 25 passes to 27 rushes was a great recipe. It brings consistency. Now, Singletary, 14-67 for 67, 4.8 he had an excellent day. It was a few stops, but a lot of that was the offensive line, and that will improve. Cook, 5 for 35, 7 yards per carry. Very impressed. Very impressed. I thought it was going to take a little bit more time for him to settle down. Not saying he has, but he clearly looks like he's headed in that direction. Very nice night for the kid, especially to catch that. That catch was unbelievable, and the run after. And then Allen, 6 for 49. His runs, his ability to hurt the defense with his movement skills it's brutal. He had 8.2. And then Jones, man, 20 for 143, 7.2 per carry. Dillon, 10 for 54. This was a very odd night. Both teams need this run game, and it really was more about the run game. Obviously, Allen was the key piece the whole night. And I really like the direction the Bills are heading, and it's going to make them so much more difficult. Because you add in this run game, you add in the play action, you have teams now biting and actually trying to stop the run, and it opens things up. And when you could do what Allen could do with those deep passes, the one thing for the Diggs for the touchdown, and the other one, that long bomb when he's just about to get blasted. I mean, that was like 60 yards downfield. His ability to attack deep as well as run, and adding in the run game itself with the running backs, I think makes this Bills team really in a true direction to do what they're aiming to do, is win the Super Bowl. This team is so good, and it's looking like in the early phases it's going to be Eagles versus the Bills, and this style of offense is going to carry them through, without a doubt, the home field advantage that they're most likely, high percentage chance going to have, and it's going to bring them to that big, big game. I am not saying this for any other reason than clear evaluation. For me, they've got it all. Trey's coming back. They've got excellent coaches. Frazier on defense, aside from those clutch calls occasionally. McDermott, Dorsey, all this stuff is coming together. But for me, it was a concern that the get-out-of-jail-free card with Allen was going to be used too much to the detriment of the overall goal. But adding in Singletary and this running game is the final piece. So, Edmonds, 16 tackles, 13 solos. Dane Jackson, 2 pass defenses. And again, when you add in Trey in there, and it was great to see Dane Jackson, who it terrified me with that neck injury or concussion, however it was, to see this kid come back and have the kind of games that he's having. He's playing really, really well. And then Rousseau, 2 hits. I got to check into this run defense, why they gave up what they did. This is a little bit of I got to watch, because you got the Patriots and the Jets who can also run. And this could be something that could be a problem. I'm not going to bank on it and say, because there's so much other history of stopping the run. It might have been just a bad night. I got to go do a detailed study. I think I'm going to do that next. But other than that, Bills on their way. Congratulations to you guys for a great night. Don't like to say it. Feel like my Dolphins are now starting to creep into that area where they can really get to the playoffs, and I don't like the chances against you guys on the road, and especially with this run game. But congratulations. Packers, they might not have had a great record, but it was a good win. So anyway, this is Curtis saying thanks for staying to the end, Bills fans. You guys might be getting what you have hoped for a long time. Catch you next time. Be well. See you soon. Start building your own online sportsbook today by getting signed up with AcePerHead.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.